Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Autumn Embers and today I'm making an old classic movie theatre, but it is a house. So I first came up with this idea was when I was looking at images for another build that I have done. And this build, I am basically calling it the Frankenstein build, and it's basically every room in the house, including the exterior and the gardens, they all are in different styles. And so I was basically looking up pictures for that build video and get you guys, my Instagram followers, people who follow me on Instagram, to vote on them. And as I was trying to search for a bedroom, like a really wacky bedroom, I was coming across home cinemas. Now, I did come across that normal home cinema with like a massive screen, lots of chairs, but I was more interested in the home cinemas that went for the more classical cinema look, the old school cinema look, because they went to town on it, because they had the word cinema in their homes. They had like big grand doors, they had like red carpet, they had like bars with just like sweets in them, and like old fashioned popcorn thingamajiggies. And I was like, oh, I like that. And I was just thinking to myself, oh, wouldn't that be a good idea to do those? But what if I did it the other way around? What if I made an old classic movie theatre and put the house inside of that? And instead of like going to the cinema, you'll go, oh, I'm going to the pictures. And so I love that idea. And the Frankenstein build, I want to do that first because I knew it was going to take so long. And the Frankenstein build was like one of those builds where you're like, oh, that's such a good idea, and then you get down to it and then you just encounter so many problems. It just becomes like a right pain in the butt. And when you've got something more tempting like this, just teasing you, just whispering at you like, come on, I'm gonna be so much fun to build, and I'm so less stressful than this one that you're doing now, come on, you want to build me. And so I put on hold the Frankenstein build and just took a break from that because that was just so many problems, and did this build, and it was so much fun. I had so much fun doing this, just because I could quite clearly see that back in the heyday, the good old days, this was the theatre to go to. If there was a movie premiere going, this will be the theatre. There will be no other theatres in mind. It will just only be this theatre, and all the old Hollywood glamorous movie theatre actors, they would go here, no question about that. They will come here with their top hats, a three-piece suit, and sort of like tails and the canes, and it'll be so glamorous and fancy, and it was the place to go. But as time went by, it just fell out of love. The people didn't really care about it, and it just sort of like died a little bit. But then someone comes along who loves movies and all that jazz. They come along and go, yep, I'm buying that. I'm going to turn this old movie theatre into a house because they love movies so much. And they restored it to what it originally was, keeping all the old characteristics of the build, and which is why I've dressed that up as an old movie theatre, and they just love it, and I love it. This is just one of those builds where you just find yourself just staring at it going, oh my god, this is just so pretty, and you just feel so happy and giddy inside, like, oh, I built this, I'm so happy. And so yeah, I'm very happy with it. I had a lot of fun with it. It took me a while to find pictures on Pinterest because I had somewhat of an idea in my head to what this was going to look like, but I kind of needed help to sort of like fully like bring it to life a little bit. And so I went onto Pinterest, as one does when you're like stuck. You just go onto Pinterest, and it took me a while to find what I was looking for, but I finally got there, and I found a picture that I quite liked. And on the building there was sort of like, it was quite it had sort of like bits and pieces on it. It wasn't just flat. It was it had bits and pieces on it, and it was sort of like 3D things that were like popping out of it, and it looked like it had some rigid bits on it. And I knew walls were not gonna do it, because walls, they only can go like one tile, like 1, 2, 3, 4, how many tiles out, but they can't go half a tile out, which would be very handy dandy. But they can't do that, so I used some get together thingy jiggies. I don't know what they are, but I have used them once before in my builds, and I used them. I used them to help me create the staggered effect that was on the front of this picture that I found. It also helped me to create the sort of like step down look that you normally see with these 1920s builds, so that was helpful. Also there was sort of like very fancy stuff on front of the build, so I also used those Get Famous gold swirly twirly thingy-jiggies that I do not know what they're for. I just know they're there in the game. So I used some of them. I also noticed, as I was trying to find a picture that I felt like it suited what was going inside my head, I also came across that a lot of these old cinemas, they're quite illuminated. So I thought, oh, okay, I'll go with that. I don't really stick lights on my builds. I only really stick lights on like the exterior of my builds when I know I'll be taking the screenshots at night, and it'll be rather handy dandy, you could see the build itself. So yeah, lots and lots of lights, not just the outside, no, or the garden, no, also inside. Some of the lights you can't even see because I snuck them behind mirrors, I snuck them behind pictures, just because the interior of this place is quite dark, just because I've used quite a lot of black. And when I thought of like old movie theatres and like the colour scheme would go for it, I thought of course red and white and also black. So yeah, I used quite a lot of black, and then we have like dark floorboards, so I tried to make sure there was enough light so it was nice and bright inside, but not too bright so you wash yourself out and you look a bit like a ghost. So yeah, I did that, so there's lots and lots of lights inside and out, and I would love to know how much the build for this place is, because I can imagine it'd be absolutely sort of like really expensive. I was going to say like a bigger word then, but I was like, I don't think I can pronounce it right now. I can pronounce it in my head, but right now I don't think I can. So I just had really lots and lots of money. And I mean, you could sort of like turn off the lights from the outside, but why? Why would you want to do that? Because that's the whole point of this build. It's this all like razzmatazz and glitz and glamour, and that's what the whole front of the build is all about. So I don't understand why you would want to do that. So yeah, you might turn on BB, or was it Free Real Estate, on to buy this house, but your Sims most definitely have to have a good job to pay those bills. Because they I could imagine they would just go in debt very quickly. So cinemas don't typically have windows, do they? But they might have windows into the lobby area, like where you buy your tickets or like your snacks. But typically they won't have windows all around. Since this is a house, I had to put windows in. Oh, I know what to talk about. All right. I know we've passed this, but I want to talk about it. So, at the front, you see there with the marble and the red carpet and the fancy borders. I don't know if I've done it yet, but in that area where I think you buy tickets, I don't know, but there's like a little pop out, and when I was looking at pictures of cinemas, trying to get an idea, I found a picture that it looked like it was like some sort of prop scenery from Disney World or something like that, just because they had the caption of Disney World or Disneyland underneath it. And I noticed on the ceiling there were these like spotlights, but like bulby spotlights. Like, oh yeah, I think I've seen something similar to that. I was like, I gotta do that. So I had a look. By the looks of things, we don't have any that sort of like bulbiness, like these bulbs on these I don't know what they are. They look like picture frames. They're not picture frames. I'm using them as picture frames at the moment, but these are the bulbs that they normally have. We don't have them, so I use some spotlights, and I changed them to like a nice warm white colour. I don't think I've done it yet because it doesn't look like it is quite bright down there. So yeah, I used lots and lots of spotlights. I'm thinking, oh, here it is. I'm doing it now. So I'm using lots and lots of these lights to create those like bulby thingies that you see, and I was trying to recreate that. I do change the colour of them to a warmer white because I was noticing the area down here, especially if you're indoors, you look a bit whitewashed. You look a bit ghostly pale, and so I do change them to a nice warmer white, so it's not as bad. You do get that slight whitewash look, but it's nice. It's a little bit warmer. So I did that. I'm quite happy with it. I noticed we do have something similar for wall lights, but yeah, they're not ceiling lights, are they? Because that wall light, I think it turns up like a red warning light, but they would have been perfect if they were a ceiling light, but unfortunately they were not. So had to use those lights instead, just putting even more lights on the outside just to make sure it is illuminated from the front, because I wanted to take a picture of this in the dark. So moving indoors, I do skip ahead just because it's a big place. It's basically a H, and I was like, I don't know where anything's gonna go. So I just basically did the layout off screen, and now I'm doing the like lobby area. So I think that pop out where I put the mannequin with the wood, I think that's where you get your tickets. I don't know. But I was basically basing this off like a theatre, like where you would see musicals and stuff like that. And so I popped down a Get Famous bar because I thought that's where you'll get your programs, and probably ask someone where's the loser, because you got there on the Central Line, and for some reason the Central Line is really, really warm, and so you drank some water just to keep yourself hydrated, and so you're not fainting on the train, and you just went right through you, and you just want to go to the loo. And so that's what that bar is representing. I did originally wanted 2 elevators. I then noticed you're not allowed 2 elevators on the same lot. I don't understand why, but for some reason you can't. So I went, fine, I won't have it, you stupid thing. You just spoiled the aesthetic of all of it now. So I was a bit disappointed with that, but I did put in a wardrobe because, like, okay, this is the entrance lobby area to the house/movie theatre. A normal, like, coat rack wouldn't suit it, would it? It would look a bit strange and out of place. So I used a wardrobe, and I thought, okay, it's not a secondary elevator, but it makes sense as like a coat. You just put your hat in it or something like that. So moving on to the living room, like I said, the base of this house is basically the dark wood flooring and the blacks, and I wanted to keep this again very sort of glitzy, glamorous, fancy pantsy, kind of 1920s, but trying to like keep it in the here and now, in the modern day era. And so I love this Get Famous mirror with the lights. I absolutely love it. I don't use it as often as I would like to, because I do try to sneak it into me builds, but Unfortunately, it's absolutely bloody massive, and you can't shrink it down to size because the light glowiness doesn't come with, so that's a bit of a disappointment, but I love it. It just says, oh, look at me, I'm fancy pantsy, but look at me, I'm fancy pantsy and modern. And I have to say, I did use a lot of the Get Famous, the furniture and build by stuff, and also I used quite a bit of the what's it called, the vintage glamour stuff, and those two packs, they go together so well. So I used quite a lot of that. I also strangely used quite a lot of City Living and Get to Work. Is that the one with the briefcase? I don't know, but I used quite a lot of that just because the Get to Work one has the frame with the bulbs that I was using as a picture frame. So I put a lot of that around the place and it just works. So yes, like I said, lots and lots of like dark colours, blacks and reds and whites. Really like how this came out. So right, you may have noticed there is a door leading to somewhere. I generally forgot to show you me decorating those rooms because I was kind of worried and concerned and confused how I was, one, going to decorate the hallway, and two, how am I supposed to landscape this place, because it is a movie theatre but it is also a house, so it has to have a back garden, but I don't know what that could be. So I was kind of focusing on that, and that is the reason why I forgot to show you the rooms behind the kitchen. So let's just talk about it quickly, shall we? So the door that is where the kitchen is, that leads to basically like a 3x5 pantry room. It's basically a hallway that's been turned into a pantry room. It's basically just a decorative room. So I used the laundry big shelf cupboardy thingamajiggy. You'll see in the screenshots, and I'll just place a load of decorative objects. A nice wine rack to go in that big rectangle space that leaves you. That then leads you into the laundry room. The clue's in the name. There's just a washing machine, a dryer, some more laundry day decorative stuff, and I put in the Seasons decorative light. No, right. The Seasons is an interactive object, and it lets you like decorate the outside of your house. It would be interesting with all like the other stuff on the front of the house to see sort of like, I don't know, Halloween bunting on the front of the house. It would be interesting. So that's in there. And then from that laundry room there is another door, and behind that door is a bathroom, because I like to have a bathroom next to my laundry area, and if I can't get like a bathroom next to it, I like to include like bathroom stuff, just because, you know, if you're cleaning clothes, you can clean yourself in the same area. So for example, if you're out and about and you forget to pack your umbrella and it starts raining, or you try to use your umbrella but it's broken because it's one of those rainy days where it just turns itself inside out, now you've got a broken umbrella and now you look like a drowned rat, you can go to the laundry room, take off the wet clothes, put them in the wash whilst you go and have a shower next door, and just warm yourself up a little bit. That's my thinking when I put bathrooms and or bathroom stuff in laundry rooms. That's why I do it. Anyways, we're moving on to the study area. So there are basically two rooms, one room at the back of the house and a room at the front of the house that don't have windows in them, just because there are no windows at the front because of the posters, and I thought I should keep that with the theme of it and just apply it to the back of the house. So this room does not have any windows, and yes, I've used black in it. Black, small, windowless room, not a go-go, but I did it. And here I am using a Get Famous movie set piece. I'm basically using it as a shelf. Now, the back of it does pop out to the like the other side of the wall. I was going to cover it up with like ivy, and you're like, oh, it'd be fine, just cover it up. And as I did the exterior and the back of the house, I was like, yeah, nah, if I just put like a random patch of ivy on it, I then have to extend it like around the back of the house. And I was like, I'm not gonna do that because I love the way the back of the house turned out in the garden, and putting ivy and vines all over it wasn't going to suit. And normally I like to do like it spread out the ivy and stuff like that, because then it looks like it's meant to be, looks more natural. But the back of the house, it kind of looks like a old movie set. So I was thinking to myself, okay, if the people who live here love the movies, they will probably gather and collect and buy old memorabilia. Oh, for God's sake, I can't pronounce it again. Okay, old stuff that the movies had, and that they like it popped up in the movie and they want it in their house, because they're collectors. And so when I did the hallway, I basically got statues, Baby Yoda, Star Wars, and things like that, so I could put it in the hallway, because they could have popped up in like a film. And so I was thinking to myself, okay, but what if they bought some movie stuff that couldn't actually fit inside the house? What would they do then? They will probably put it outside. So for what I did for the back of the house, I got some these like townhouses pieces from the Get Famous like set pieces. I put them at the back because they bought them, they got nowhere else to place them, and I put them there. I thought, oh, they could like step out onto like the street, and so I put down some brick tiles. I put like a swimming pool in the middle. I put down 2 sort of like street lamp kind of thingies. One of them is the Romantic Gardens lamp that you saw at the front of this build. The other one is the City Living signposters lamp, so it looks like you're coming out of a very fancy plush shopping mall or shopping centre, and you're just stepping out onto the street, and it's slightly further back from the road, and it kind of looks like you're in a movie set kind of street look, and it looks so cool. I'm so happy with it. And putting vines all over the building, it didn't make sense for what I eventually got. So yeah, the what's it called? The movie set piece I'm using as a shelf in the study area there, it does stick out, but I'm not bothered by it because it's the side of the build and you're not going to really look at it, hopefully. So here I'm doing the first bedroom. I am seeing this as like a guest bedroom. Whenever there is a bedroom on the ground floor, the floor that you enter in, I'm seeing this as a guest bedroom. Now, I normally like to give my guest bedroom a bathroom of their own, just because if I was invited around to somebody's house, and that's been a very long time, but if I was, I felt a lot more comfortable if I had a separate bathroom to everybody else. Not because I'm a fancy pain in the arse, no, it's mainly because I don't want to get in their way. I don't want to get in the way of their routine. They may wake up and go straight into the shower. I just don't want to be a right pain in the butt. I just don't want to like disturb them. So I would rather have a bathroom to myself. So I just don't get in the way too much. So that is why I tend to have like downstairs bathroom or like an ensuite bathroom for like the guest bedroom. Now, moving on to this bedroom. This bedroom has a very classical black and red look to it. I am seeing this as the bougie bedroom just because it has like a set of drawers in the bedroom, but also you may have seen this room is quite a long weird shape of a room, and it wasn't really working as it is now, so I do cut off the end part of the room where the wardrobe is now and create it into a walking wardrobe. And for me, that seems bougie. That seems like, oh, that looks a bit fancy and extra. Because, you already got like a set of drawers in your room, and now you've got like a walking wardrobe as well. So yeah, I think this is like a very bougie extra bedroom. You're probably thinking, what are you talking about? That's nothing. But I think it is. And look, you got a 4-poster bed with curtains. You got a fancy pantsy mirror right behind you. You got lots of mirrors in this place, in this room. Actually, the entire house actually has quite a lot of mirrors in it, just because yeah, I use a lot of black, and black normally feels quite small, and if I use mirrors in real life and light, it would bounce the light around. So that's why there's lots of mirrors about in this place. And it's not there to scare you, it's just there to bounce lights about. So yeah, this is the bougie bedroom. The bedroom next door to it currently now has a table, because I thought, okay, the study on the ground floor is quite small, got no windows in it. I thought, okay, it could just be like a secondary study area. But as I was doing this house and doing the decorating for the bedrooms, I was going, oh, I quite like this. I'm actually really, really enjoying myself. I want to explore how many possibilities of like movie bedrooms I could do. And I thought, I don't want to do another study yet. I want to do another bedroom because this is fun. And so this is the kids' bedroom. So this kid really, really loves this show or movie that has this rainbow unicorn thing that's on the floor. And basically the colours on the walls are basically representing the colours in that rug. Basically that rug just set the colours and the tones and the themes of this entire room. So we got a nice pink bed. I do also put in the rainbow what's it called? The rainbow movie set piece, or like is this like a movie set piece? It was a bit big, it was a bit large, so I scaled it down. But the problem with scaling that item down, or other movie PC sets that are huge, they leave a great big black shadow sometimes. And the shadow here with the rainbow, it doesn't quite bother me as much, because I noticed the shadow for the rainbow, it's just outside the house and it's just above your Sim's head. So I thought to myself, you're not going to really notice that during gameplay, not that much, because you don't really move your camera up. So I thought, okay, that's fine, it works, rainbows, unicorns, sparkly, magical neatness. What's the end of the rainbow? Pot of gold, or is it a magical unicorn? We don't know. So I thought, yeah, okay, rainbow would make sense, and the shadow, it's not too bothering me, and I don't think you would see it during gameplay. So I thought, oh, right, then that's fine. Okay, this next version that I thought was going to be a study area. I thought this would be like a very cool, pop arty kind of bedroom, like Roy Lichtenstein kind of art feel, but bedroom like. And I went to the gallery and tried to look for some like pop art. And I would definitely recommend it if you want your rooms to look slightly different and have a bit to it, or you get a bit bored of the artwork that we have in the game so far. Just pop over to the gallery, just type in art or pictures or images, and you get a whole load of them, and they're brilliant. And so I did pull out some. You can see here they normally come in on like a wall, and it's normally saved as a room, and I was trying to use them, but it didn't really work. I wasn't really feeling it. I was like, why am I doing this? This is not a arty-farty house. This is a movie house. This person loved the movies. So I got rid of it and did this instead. I discarded these music floor tile ruggy thingies. I was trying to use it in this room. I do move it to the hallway, and at first I wasn't too sure about this room because at the moment I feel like a red, and then it moves on to like a cream, then it moves on to a black, and then red. I do change the cream part to like a purple, and I actually quite like it now. It just needed a different rug and a different colour, and I actually quite like it now. So this room here, I was trying to make it into like a monochrome look, because I don't really do monochrome, and it's trying to be like really stylish and like oh fancy, but I couldn't do it. I gave up pretty quickly, and so I quite like this bedroom. Again, I wasn't too sure what to do, despite I was having fun. So you do see me put down sort of the briefcase light frame thing that I've been using everywhere. So I do put that like behind the bed, but I do get rid of that and change it for some city living light wall panels. They've got like a fancy pattern to them, but it's like a light. So I do get rid of that thing there behind the bed and change it for them. And then that basically just leads on to an ensuite and a wardrobe. That is basically the same wardrobe that I used downstairs because it just suited it. So this area here, what am I going to do with it? It's just a big long thing. I was trying to use it as like a bowling alley. Unfortunately, it wasn't long enough, so I changed it into a home cinema. I used this thing. If it was real life, I wouldn't recommend you using it because it would be incredibly loud, and there's a hole in this landing, and the sound would just travel. You wouldn't be able to talk to anyone downstairs or watch the TV in the living room downstairs, but it's The Sims, so who cares? So I did want like a 2x2, but there was enough room, so it's just like a 1x1, and I put these down so you can pop your drink down in these little like cubby holes. I do put in sort of like statues, like old, they could have like appeared in films, and so I put them in there. And this video is coming to an end soon, so thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe if you love it as much as I do. Please comment down below, it makes me so happy, and please enjoy the rest of your day, whatever it may be. Probably watching more Netflix if your internet can handle it. And thank you and goodbye.